Show of hands. Whose workspace has very limited workbench space and floor space? Yeah, me too. I think I've got a solution for us that can reclaim some of that workbench space without taking up much, if any, floor space, especially when it comes to these workbench tools. You know what I'm talking about. Grinders, polishers, drill presses, vices. Let's check it out. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Here's a perfect example. It's a belt sander, right? By itself, doesn't take up a whole lot of room. But then you've got a drill press. You've got a porter band that's turned into a metal cutting bandsaw. You've got your vise. And then up there, I've got a polishing setup and I've got a benchtop grinder. And because they are benchtop, meaning they take up benchtop space, I'm really short on benchtop space. I've got my Certiflat weld table as a workspace, but I don't really want a grinder taking up a corner of that. And then I've got that really small wooden workbench now. And I've got a vise on the corner and then some tools on it. You can put maybe one of those benchtop tools on there and then it starts to get really cramped. So I had to come up with a solution. And I, of course, turned to the web, started looking for ideas. The best thing that I found for my case, and hopefully it'll work for you too, is to make a mounting system where you can take those tools, you can hang them to store them up out of the way, because I've got plenty of wall space in here, so I could hang those tools and get them out of the way until I need them. Simply go over there, pull a pin, take the tool down, mount it, do my work, clean it off, hang it back up, put the pin in, good to go. But this mounting system, you can mount it pretty much anywhere. You can mount it to the front of your bench, to the side of your bench. You can mount it on the wall. You can mount it on the side of a weld table. You can have a freestanding post, whether it's permanently affixed to the garage floor or it's on casters, whatever the case may be. And you could use this mounting system and put those tools there. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can assemble this. I kind of gave it away with the porter band, but let me show you real quick. So the system's pretty easy. I've got this tool, I don't know what tool stand that I put a piece of steel on the top and bolted my drill press to. It gives me a nice solid surface. And then if I do have a larger piece that I need to use or cut or drill through, I can pull this out because it is on casters. It's a mess right now, but don't judge me. I can pull that out and have plenty of room and then push it back. But I don't have the floor space in here with all this stuff to have all of these benchtop tools mounted to a tool stand. I just don't. So what I've come up with is by using 2-inch receiver tubing and mounts, I mounted a step, I think they're called, I'll link all these parts down in the description, of course, but it's a step receiver mount or something like that. I can't remember right off the top of my head. And that's mounted to a receiver tube that has a plate on it. And then I just added additional steel to make it big enough for this swag off-road table to bolt to. And I can pull this out and exchange it for the grinder that's up there or the polisher that's up there. But what I really need, while that works great, I need another couple of places to mount these tools, and I've collected a few more of these benchtop tools since I've done that. So I need to make more places to mount the tools in different locations around the garage, and I need to make more of the receiver to plate combos that the tools mount to. You used to be able to go to Harbor Freight and pick those up less than 25 bucks. But now it seems like you can't find them. And I have not been able to find them locally. And I've gone to other places and found them online, but they want like $40 to $50 each for them. And I don't know about you guys, but we are on a shoestring budget here at haslipcycleworks, and that is not going to cut it for us. So what I've done is found a way to make our own plates with the tubes on them way cheaper. Let me show you what I've come up with. I've got some 2x2 square tubing, and if you can't, it's hard for you to find steel locally. Most of your hardware stores or Lowe's or Home Depot, even the small mom and pop hardware stores, aren't going to stock 2x2 tubing. So I actually order mine online if I need something. The best place, if you just need a few pieces, you don't need a full 8, 12, 20 foot length of something, hit up eBay. There's plenty of guys like us that do this more often and on a larger scale. So you can get their offcuts, which work perfect for you, but may not work for them. You can get them for pretty cheap. Shipping is a lot easier and cheaper on small pieces than it is full length tubes. I went a little overboard on the thickness, but I found a guy that was getting rid of some 1 foot by 1 foot squares out of some sheet that he had. This is 1/4 inch. You don't need to go to 1/4 inch. This stuff is super heavy, but you know, it'll work, and we're not going to warp the crap out of it when we put a little bit of heat on it. So this will be good. I actually have three of these 1 by 1 1/4 inch thick pieces, and there's some weight there, quite a bit actually, and I was able to get those from that individual on eBay for I think $12 each shipped, which is cheap. We're going to take our plate and we're going to weld our tube to it. And then this tube simply slides into this. This is affixed to your workspace, and there you go. Something else that I've done after doing that a few times is we're going to take and we're going to drill a couple holes in here, and we're going to weld some nuts to this, and then what we'll do is we'll put some bolts through those nuts, and we'll turn them into like little T-bolts, and that will actually, when you tighten those up, gets rid of that slop. Because if you put a polisher or one of those benchtop grinders on this, those things vibrate like crazy. And that's another thing. Some of these benchtop tools, unless you affix them to a table, they'll move all over the table when you're working, and you don't want that. This system gets rid of that. So when we attach that to the plate's attached to the tube, we slide the tube into the receiver, and we tighten down those bolts in the receiver. It's going to get rid of all that slop, and it's going to be a nice firm connection, so we don't have to worry about it wandering around or doing anything like that. There it is. We got our belt sander firmly attached to our plate, which is welded to our 2x2 tubing. Now the only thing left, I need to drill a hole in this for the pin for when I set up my hanging system. What I need to do now that I've got my belt sander attached to the plate system is I need to make a mount that I can bolt to my weld table. To prepare to make a mount for the weld table, popped a couple holes in the shorter receiver tube, and I went ahead and cleared the powder coat off the edges that I expect to weld on. This is the plate that I have that I can matches the bolt pattern on the weld table. I'm going to cut pretty much a corner off of this that fits that tube, and then we're going to weld it together. Now that we have the part that attaches to the table done, what we need to do is turn our regular bolts into some T-bolts. We'll do that just by welding a piece of this 1/4 inch key stock to the heads of these bolts. Here it is, bolted to the weld table. Just 2 bolts in it, and that's plenty. There it is, fixed to the table. There's no slop in it. The best part about this attachment system is I can unbolt it from the weld table and move it anywhere on the weld table. I can even change the orientation so it points up in case whatever tool I want to use needs to sit in that situation. And I have another one that you've already seen. I've got the bandsaw hooked to the table that has the drill press. I can swap the bandsaw and the sander back and forth. I could even make more of these mounts and have multiples attached to the weld table. I think because of the length that this video is, I might make a part 2 showing you how I hang these, which I haven't done yet, so I got to figure that out. But what the goal is to take these tools so that they're not in the way and hang them on the wall. This extra step bumper hitch, receiver adapter thing, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to mount it to the wooden workbench back there. And that'll give me 3 spots. That's it for this one. Look out for the part 2 where I go over how I'm going to hang these to get them out of the way. Should help you guys that have a bunch of these benchtop tools but don't have the benchtop space to kind of come up with some creative ways. And they sell different attachments for these hitches, so you can even make them adjustable height. I mean, your imagination's really the limit here. But for now, that's it. So there you go. Hope that helps you out. And until next time, guys, get out there and do it.